Hi there, I'm Joey.
I'm Jacob.
And we are watching Star Trek for the first time. Last time on Star Trek, we had an awesome episode about Worf and Klingons in general. And easily, I think, for me, probably like the most interesting Klingons have ever been to me as a viewer. I remember really liking a lot of the stuff they did with them in like Undiscovered Country, but like I think like especially for TV Trek and also just it's really up there in general. I think it's just the most interesting I've ever been in them as a species. I think for a lot of like Star Trek history that we've watched together. I think they've just kind of like been there for the most part for me, maybe except for the movies. The movies they were fairly prominent in, but there I thought they made a really strong impression in that. So, today we are watching an episode called "The Arsenal of Freedom." So, whatever the fuck that means. Yeah, we'll find out in a second. We're going to get into post-episode thoughts in a second. Be sure to join us then. We're about to watch "The Arsenal of Freedom." So I'll admit I didn't love it. It was solid enough, I think. But, much in the way I think of Heart of Glory, though not nearly to the degree that I kind of loved that, and it's unfortunate that it is coming so close to the end of the season, but I think we're finally starting to flex our ensemble cast of this show more, which is really nice to see. I really appreciate that. I mean, Geordi especially. I mean, Geordi is the character that we're focusing on a lot here. At first I thought his whole thing was kind of like the B plot. It's like, oh yeah, while we're dealing with the planet down here, what is, who's looking after the Enterprise, while all this is going on. And it turns out it's Geordi. And I think especially because it's LeVar Burton taking charge, it's really enjoyable to watch. But I just like seeing just more of Geordi as a character. I think it's really nice.
He was a good commander. He even was able to leverage the skills of the crew, and he knows where they're best suited, even if it is not in his best interest at any given second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. The actual plot of this is solid enough. It's this other ship called the Drake that has disappeared. And so we believe that we have found where its crew is, or where if the crew is alive. So a small detail is a small world building thing, and it was kind of done through like this really clunky exposition. But I did kind of like what it was saying was that Riker was apparently originally supposed to be the captain of the Drake, but he passed it up, to be on the Enterprise, which I just find really fascinating. I think I've never really considered the idea in Star Trek that like there are probably multiple people like on these different ships that we've seen that have had like other important jobs like outside of the position we see them in on any given Enterprise or any other Starfleet ship, which I think is interesting. I mean, we've had allusions to that before. In reference to other crews that Kirk has worked with and things like that, and Spock especially, literally having seen an entire episode in the pilot for TOS of him with a different crew.
I also think of like Sulu when he's
in
command of a ship.
Yeah, when he literally becomes a captain by the final movie. I find that really fascinating. Yeah, just a really cool thing. And like I said, it was kind of like the dialogue itself was really clunky world building.
I did, however, very much like the idea of a group of people, a planet-wide group of people, so good at making weapons. They made a weapon that would eventually kill them all.
Yeah.
And it would keep killing until someone bought the damn system.
Yeah. Really cool. It made for a really, really cool sort of climax to the episode, I think, where with Picard like sort of like begging with the character named, and I quote, Echo Papa 607.
Yeah.
Which is the name of this program that is literally trying to sell this weapon. Really cool stuff. I thought that was really, really interesting. You called it out before it happened, and I really hate it, but I put it in my notes because of you bastard. The one joke that Riker has when he meets up with the other captain of the ship.
What's an illusion of him?
Well, yeah. But he's like, what's the name of your ship? Oh, it's the Lollipop. And he's like, it's a good ship. stupid ass joke. I love it. It's so funny.
He said lollipop. I was like, oh, I know that. What is this?
Stupid. I didn't see it coming. I'm mad at myself that I didn't see it coming. But it was funny. It was really funny. Let's see. Oh, also we focus a lot on this on Picard and Crusher again. I say again. They actually haven't had too many episodes to themselves, but I feel like a lot of times when we do have an episode that is focused on Beverly, it's she's often paired up with Picard. But here especially, we've hinted a lot at their sort of potential relationship throughout this show. I think certainly much more than Riker and Troy has gotten.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, we've hinted a lot at it throughout this first season. But I think this episode in particular put them in a, oddly enough, despite the danger of the situation, put them in a much more, I would say, romantic setting, because we're literally in a position where one of them has to look after the other. Like, Crusher is injured, Picard has to look after her. And though I don't think they really focused a lot on the sort of potential romantic involvement of them, I think I felt that the most here because of the situation they were in. Like, it was literally like, hey, it's just us here. We have to survive. And it is just that the Picard being that sort of that caregiver in that moment.
And he has to be continue talking to me, continue explaining to me what I have to do to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she essentially runs out of ways to keep explaining how to help her, finds out about her past, and he's like, "Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about you." And she, the last intimate line, I call it intimate, like the last line they have before their intimate situation is not that. Is there's a lot you don't know about me.
Oh, mwah. So good. I will take so much more of that, please. It was so good. I really love that. But yeah, I think that about does it for me. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, also we get to see the Enterprise split up again. We get to see the separate from the saucer and the rest of it from
the battle cruiser or whatever they called it.
Yeah. I thought that was just really cool.
Battle decks.
I enjoyed seeing that again. Because I think it only ever happened in the pilot, right? I think that's the only time we had it so far.
If not the pilot, really early on.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact it happened in the pilot, but I'm trying to think if it happened at all after.
They've hinted at it a couple of times that they might have to do it in an episode, but I don't recall seeing it since then.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, 5 episodes left in the season. Let's fucking go. I think that about does it. Yeah, 5 to go. So we'll make it 4 next time. So be sure to join us then when we continue Star Trek: The Next Generation. Until then, this has been Joey Morgan.
I'm Jacob.
Goodbye.